All right. Ever catch yourself daydreaming about those golden years? You know, the ones where you're cruising around, enjoying life and taking it easy.
It's funny you should say that
Yeah.
because it seems like e-bikes, especially those Gazelle ones, are becoming pretty popular.
Really?
Yeah, they are the ride of choice for seniors who are, how should I put this? Not exactly slowing down.
I love that. It's like embracing those golden years, but with an electric boost.
Exactly. And it makes sense, right? We're living longer, healthier lives, and seniors are looking for options that match their lifestyles, lifestyles that are still active.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just about getting from point A to point B anymore, is it?
Right. It's about independence, feeling good, and feeling empowered. And there's a real shift happening in how we think about aging.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just bikes here. We're talking about a whole mindset. And speaking of mindset, we've got some interesting research in front of us. We've got Harvard Medical School talking about low-impact exercise, the American Psychological Association on the benefits of being outdoors, and the Journal of Aging and Health on social engagement.
Like a trifecta of wellness.
Right, it is. So how does all of this connect to Gazelle e-bikes specifically? Well, our notes pose a pretty interesting question. Gazelle, the best choice for senior riders.
Now, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. Is it just clever marketing, or is there something special going on here?
Well, let's just say they seem to be onto something. One thing that really stood out to me from the material was this focus on comfort and making the bikes easy to use, which, let's be real, becomes even more important as we get older.
Right. Nobody wants to wrestle with a complicated bike, no matter their age. And speaking of making things easy, I'm seeing fully assembled with local service highlighted in our notes.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
Right. It seems like a game changer for seniors who might not want to deal with the hassle of putting a bike together themselves, or who might not be as comfortable with online support.
Absolutely. And think about it. If you do have a question or if your bike needs a little tune-up, you're not stuck on hold with some call center across the country.
That's a great point.
You've got someone local who can actually help you face-to-face.
It's like that saying, it's not what you know, is who you know. Or in this case, who can help you fix your e-bike.
Exactly. Having that personal touch can make all the difference.
It really can. And speaking of connection, our notes also mention something called the Gazelle International Owners Group. Have you heard of this?
I have. It sounds like quite the resource.
Right. It's like a secret society, but for e-bike enthusiasts. But seriously, what is it? Tell me more.
Well, imagine a whole bunch of Gazelle riders, and we're talking people of all ages here, coming together to share tips, plan rides, or just connect. And it looks like a lot of them are seniors, which makes sense, right?
Right. Okay, so it's like having a built-in community of people who share your interests. That's fantastic. But let's dive into the bikes themselves a bit more. Our notes break down some key features, starting with ergonomics and safety, two things that are super important for any rider, but especially for seniors. What makes Gazelle different in these areas?
Well, let's start with ergonomics, because who wants to be uncomfortable on a bike ride?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Oh.
Gazelle is known for having this upright riding position on their bikes, which is great for your back, your neck, and even your wrists.
So it's like sitting in a comfy chair, but instead of reaching for the remote, you're out exploring the world.
You got it. And there's a reason for that design. Our source from Johns Hopkins Medicine emphasized how crucial good posture is as we age. And it seems like Gazelle took that to heart when designing their bikes.
That's awesome. They're thinking about the whole package, so they've got the posture thing covered. What about other comfort features? Because I'm seeing suspension in our notes, and let's be honest, our bones aren't getting any younger.
You're ahead of me again. You're absolutely right. They've definitely thought about that.
Okay, good, because that was going to be my next question.
Well, they have models like the Arroyo C8 HMB Elite, which has some seriously advanced shock absorption built in. So that means less impact on your joints, even when you're riding on, let's say, less than perfect roads or paths.
Okay, so they've got comfort covered. But what about safety? I imagine that's a major concern for seniors and their families, too.
Oh, absolutely. And Gazelle definitely doesn't mess around when it comes to safety. One of the first things I noticed when I was going through the research was their use of hydraulic disc brakes.
Okay, I have to be honest. Hydraulic disc brakes sounds impressive, but also kind of intimidating. What's the main takeaway for someone who is not a bike mechanic, someone who just wants to have a safe and enjoyable ride?
Fair enough. It sounds more complicated than it is. The main thing to know is that these types of brakes are really responsive. You don't need to squeeze them as hard to get them to work, which is especially helpful if you're not as strong as you used to be.
That makes sense. It's all about making braking easier and more intuitive.
Exactly.
And speaking of intuitive, our notes mentioned something about built-in LED lights on Gazelle e-bikes. Tell me more about that.
So these aren't your average bike lights that you have to manually turn on and off.
Hmm.
These are designed to turn on automatically when it starts to get dark, so you don't even have to think about it.
Oh, wow. That's smart.
Right. It's a small detail, but it can make a huge difference, especially as our vision changes as we age.
It's like they've thought of everything. And those thoughtful touches can really make or break the riding experience, you know?
Oh, I completely agree. And that attention to detail, it goes beyond just the lights and the brakes. They even put a lot of thought into the tires.
Okay, tires. Now that's something we can all relate to. What's so special about Gazelle's tires?
Well, if you compare them to your average bike tire, you'll notice that they're wider and more stable, which is super important for balance and control, especially when you're riding on uneven surfaces.
So wider tires, better stability.
Yeah.
Got it. It's like they say, the more rubber on the road, the better, right?
Right. It gives you a bigger base of support, which is super helpful, especially when you're riding on uneven terrain or maybe navigating some tricky turns.
Makes sense to me. You know, it's interesting how something as seemingly simple as a tire can make such a difference in how confident you feel on a bike.
Oh, for sure. It's all about physics in the end. A wider tire has more contact with the ground, which means better traction and overall stability. But you're right, it's not just about the technical aspects of it. It's about that feeling of security and control you get when you know you've got a good grip on the road.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked comfort, safety, and even the physics of tires. Now let's circle back to that Gazelle International Owners Group. You know, this whole community aspect has really piqued my interest. Our notes mention it as a huge perk, but does it live up to the hype? What's the vibe like in this group?
From everything I've seen, it's more than just hype. It seems like a really thriving community with a lot of seniors in the mix, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
They're a big part of the Gazelle rider demographic.
Right, for sure.
And just imagine having this whole network of people who get it, who understand the ins and outs of riding an e-bike later in life, maybe even some of the unique challenges or concerns that come with it.
Right, because not everyone is out there doing wheelies and jumping curbs.
Exactly. And the source we have here, it actually mentions that the group's Facebook page is an incredible resource, people sharing tips, advice, you name it. You can find riding buddies in your area or just connect with folks online. It's all about support and shared experiences.
So it's like having a built-in support system, but for e-bikes and beyond.
Exactly. It's about fostering that sense of belonging, finding purpose and shared passions, all while getting some fresh air and exercise. It's a win-win. And, research has shown that social isolation can be a real problem for seniors. It can impact both physical and mental well-being.
Wow, so this group is addressing some really important needs.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. Okay, now I'm curious, what else do we have in our notes?
Let's say, okay, this one is interesting. Low step-through frames.
Ah, yes.
So what's the deal with that? I'll admit, it sounds a little technical.
It's funny how sometimes the simplest ideas are the most ingenious. Remember we were talking about the National Institute on Aging earlier and how they were saying that balance and coordination are major concerns for seniors as they get older.
Right, it's something that a lot of people deal with.
Yeah, and this is where the design of these low step-through frames is so brilliant. Instead of having to swing your leg over a high bar to get on the bike, which, let's be honest, can be tricky for anyone, regardless of age, but especially if you have any mobility issues.
Right, it can be a real balancing act.
Right. But with these frames, you don't have to worry about that. It's just a nice open frame, easy to step through.
So it's like the difference between stepping over a puddle versus wading through it. One is definitely easier and probably less messy.
That's a perfect analogy. The Gazelle Arroyo C8 HMB, that's a great example of this design. Super easy to get on and off. It might seem like a small detail, but it can make all the difference, especially for someone who might be a little intimidated by a traditional bike frame.
Totally. It's all about making cycling less intimidating and more accessible.
Exactly.
And speaking of accessible, our notes also mention adjustable pedal assist. What's the story there? Because that sounds pretty high-tech and very cool.
Okay, imagine this. You're cruising along on your e-bike, having a grand old time, and then you hit a hill.
Oh no, the dreaded hill.
Right. But here's the thing. Some days you might be feeling up to that challenge. You want to put in the work, feel those muscles burn. But other days, you just want to enjoy the ride. No sweat required.
I feel that. Some days are definitely more of a coast along kind of day.
Right. And that's the beauty of this adjustable pedal assist.
Yeah.
You're in control. You decide how much effort you want to put in.
So it's like having a personalized workout buddy who's always there to give you a little boost when you need it.
You got it. And Gazelle, uses these Bosch mid-drive motors, which are known for being super smooth and responsive, which is really important, especially if you're relying on that assist to help you power up a hill or just maintain a comfortable speed. And our source pointed out that this is especially beneficial for seniors because, let's be real, our energy levels aren't always predictable, right? Some days are better than others.
That's so true. So with this adjustable assist, whether you're feeling like an Olympic cyclist or just want to enjoy a leisurely ride in the park, you've got options. I love it.
It's all about customization and making the ride your own, whatever that looks like on any given day. And I think that's really at the heart of what Gazelle is all about. They want to empower their riders to help them stay active and engage with the world around them for as long as possible.
I love that. Empowering people to live their best lives on their own terms. It's inspiring, really.
Yeah.
And speaking of inspiring, I have a confession to make. Our notes mentioned something about Gazelle offering test rides, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little tempted to try one out myself after learning about all these incredible features.
Well, you're in luck because it looks like they do offer test rides.
They do.
Yeah, through their website.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you can absolutely experience all of this firsthand.
Yeah, take it for a spin. See how it feels?
Exactly. And I have a feeling some of our listeners might be feeling a little tempted themselves after hearing all of this.
Oh, I'm sure. Who wouldn't want to feel that wind in their hair, the sun on their face, just gliding along?
Right. It's about more than just the bike itself. It's about that feeling of freedom, that sense of adventure that we all crave no matter our age.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about challenging those outdated ideas about what it means to get older. Gazelle seems to get, they understand that seniors don't want to be stuck on the sidelines.
I love that. It's about staying in the game.
Exactly.
Living life to the fullest. At the beginning of this deep dive, I have to admit, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I am honestly so impressed with Gazelle and what they're doing. Yeah.
They've clearly put a lot of thought into designing e-bikes that really speak to the needs and desires of senior riders.
They've done their homework, that's for sure.
They have. This isn't just about slapping a fancy label on a product and calling it a day.
Right.
It's about a real commitment to improving people's lives.
It's true. And I think what's really exciting is that this goes way beyond Gazelle itself. What we're seeing is a whole wave of innovation with technology being used to actually empower people as they age,
Yeah.
to help them live richer, fuller lives.
That's what it's all about. Okay,
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with today? What's the big takeaway?
That's a good question. I think it comes down to this, because getting older, it's a fact of life, right? But how we age, how we choose to experience those later chapters, that's entirely up to us.
Gazelle, they're offering one path, one way to stay active and involved. But the bigger message here is to never stop exploring, to keep seeking out those experiences that bring you joy, regardless of your age.
I love that. Never stop exploring. Those are words to live by and to ride by, I'd say.
Hear, hear.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Always fun chatting with you.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive. Until then, keep those wheels turning.
The Herd Podcast is produced by the Gazelle International Owners Group on Facebook. The managing editor and executive producer is Gary Fujioka Sr.